this is a test now, right? This is a test. Yes, there's agreement now. We'll head down this net zero path. But I got a prediction. This is going to end in tears. I'm sticking to my guns because I do think we're going to need some common sense very soon. This country's about to go through the school of hard knocks, starting when the Liddell coal-fired power station starts shutting down within a year's time. We are not ready for that, as was demonstrated by the explosion at Callide C in Queensland this year, which turned off the lights in Queensland and led to record electricity prices in the months after. Yeah. We're going to have a planned explosion effectively there next year at Liddell at a power station about the same size near Joel. It might be just outside Joel's electorate.
No, it's in my electorate.
It's Eddie's electorate. And I think we're going to end up like Europe, Paul. We're going to have skyrocketing power prices. We don't have enough gas. New South Wales become a mendicant state already in terms of energy. You talk about Matt Canavan, the energy, or used to be the energy minister there. He gets all his energy from Queensland. He gets all his electricity from coal-fired power stations in Queensland. He gets all his gas from Queensland. Right. They don't make any energy. And eventually that's going to run out. And what happens then? The lights go out, our factories close, we struggle to distribute food around the country like Europe is doing right now. So that is why I am sticking to my guns for common sense on this issue. We will need to pick up the pieces, unfortunately, the years to come. And I hope I'm there just to fight the good fight to do that.
So, OK, my turn, because Pauline's had her fair go. Matt's not wrong, of course, but I remind Pauline in particular that by 2050, without any government policy, any government intervention, we won't have any coal-fired generators in this country.
I don't agree.
The youngest generator in Queensland is due. Well, that's just under normal timetable, Matt. The youngest generator in Australia is scheduled to close by 2050. You can
build more of them, Joel. You can build more of them. China's building 95 of them right now.
Well, you can build more, but I just don't think
Japan's
that. I just don't think that any investor will build another coal-fired generator. That's not my wish. It's just a fact of life. So, you talk about net zero emissions, Paul, in 2050. By 2050, you won't have any coal-fired generators. It's a pretty good head start on this ambition there. So, Matt and I aren't all that far apart on this issue, but I actually think net zero emissions is more than achievable by 2050. Remembering we won't have any coal-fired generators by then, and we'll have technologies not even
you
thought
wouldn't have
of
a clue.
Now helping us to get there.
You can't say that,
That is real.
Don't tell me I don't have a clue. You just keep chasing your 3% of the vote or whatever it is.
We have no idea what is going to happen in the next 30 years. Come on, you can't tell me that, and you can't make that say that because we don't. More than likely, we won't be around anyway. We'll be in our graves. So you can't tell me what is going to happen. You can't make that commitment because we have no idea what's going to happen and what the governments are actually going to do. So who's in government? What's going to happen? So that's a stupid statement.
Can I say here, though, that Joel says that the market will work this out, we're going to get there anyway. But this raises the point then, why are we bothering doing anything about this? Why do we have to sign agreements? Why is the Labor Party wanting to legislate this? Because there's only two options here. Either net zero happens automatically, in which case governments should just shut up about it and stop trying to tell people how to run their lives, or we have to force people to do it. And what does that mean, Paul? That means that as night follows day, there's going to have to be red tape, there's going to have to be taxes, there's going to have to be climate cops telling you what cars you can drive, what food you can eat, even what power source you can supply to your homes. And that is why I'm fundamentally against this, because any time that government intrudes into your life and restricts what you can do, almost invariably it is the less well-off in our society that do the worst because they have the fewest options. The rich who are on their way to Glasgow at the moment, they can continue to afford to live. They don't mind a few more green taxes on their first-class ticket over to Scotland this weekend.
Well, and how many of them will have ticked that little box?
Who have very few choices, they're the ones who will get screwed.
Yeah. Can I just quickly back Matt on one point here, Paul? There are a number of wealthy people in this country at the moment saying this is the future, wind and solar, and offering to put all their money into these projects, saying it's a natural transition in any case. So why are they looking for so much government policy?
Correct.
Or government guidance to help them? They say to me all the time, there are all these rent seekers in the fossil fuel industry. Oh, what? There are no rent seekers in the renewable energy sector? Oh, there are certainly plenty of them.
So, Matt, again, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's not hide from it here. You are on the ballot coming up at the next election. It's you and Pauline and Amanda Stoker and James McGrath, lots of other options, right? You are on the ballot for the re-election of the government and going round for another 6 years. What do you say to the person watching us in Queensland who would very well think about not backing the established ticket because, you know what, buggy you, there's something's broken here and I'm out?
Well, Paul, I'll make 2 points. One, with an LNP senator or an LNP representative, you effectively get 2 bites at the cherry, because what we've seen over the past week is the policy of this country be determined in the government party room. It's not been determined in the Senate, not been determined in the House of Representatives. It's been determined in the government party room. So I think Pauline has spoken very eloquently tonight about this issue, and I have little to disagree with her on. But she hasn't, unfortunately, been a help in the room that mattered this week, because she's not a member of it. Nothing to do with, not her fault. She's been rightly elected on a different ticket here. But if you vote
you're
for
a legless bloody senator.
She used to be in it.
You've got to say, you're part of the government. You're bloody legless at the moment, mate.
We kicked her out before she got here, way back when. But so you need to be in the room to make a difference. And the second point I'd make is, look, I agree with Scott Morrison on one thing, that it'd be much better to see these plans or whatever, visions implemented under a Liberal National Party government, because you've got people like me in the party room to put a handbrake on this stuff. And that's why you should vote for the LNP.
Labor Party's got me too, Paul.
Hang on, not anymore, mate. You're out the door. You're not on a ballot the next time around.